Look at us.
We're back.
We're back together, Brad Adam. It's good to see you again.
It's-
How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. It's great to see you. You made it back. You're alive. You're still married. Everybody's happy, right? Happy?
Describe happy.
Yeah. After, 20 years of marriage and 2 kids. Yeah, I'm happy. Happy.
Have you ever done a 10-day plus road trip?
No.
No. And I would assume since you've never done that, you've never done a 10-day road trip in which you are camping and living in a van.
No.
Okay.
Do you recommend it?
Well, I love it. I wish I lived in the van. I love living in the van. I love cooking, the whole thing.
Yep. I see the pop-up. You got the bed up top, right?
Well, there's multiple beds. So there's a bed up top, there's sleeps 2, and then down below a bench pulls out.
Oh, okay.
Like a hide-a-bed, and that sleeps 2 more.
That's where the kids sleep?
No, they sleep up above.
Okay. You guys are down below?
Yeah, because I need to pee at 3 in the morning every day.
Right? What is that?
I don't like crawling down.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you.
I will tell this is how it went. We got home on late Sunday.
Okay.
Like Sunday, like at 5, and within unpacking the van, within 10 minutes, it was my son. I'm leaving. I'm going to the park. My daughter was like, I'm going to my friends, and my wife was like, I'm going down to the Elks for a drink. And I'm like, where's everyone going? Like, what's going on? Why is everybody leaving me? What did I do wrong?
A little FFF, a little forced family fun for 10 days.
Forced family fun. There he is, the bright, smiling face of Brad Adam. And what?
And we're excited, too. Not only are you back, we're back, but the kids back in school, baby.
Everyone's gone. Does the Bellevue School District starts early, right?
Yeah, it starts today. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Last night, the girls were, scrambling. It's about 10 o'clock at night, and they realized, I got a soccer practice. Where's my uniform?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I got to set up my computer. Oh, okay. Wait till the last minute. Okay. I don't have a stylus. I don't know what to tell you.
The shit's gonna hit the shit's hitting the fan for us tonight.
Yeah. Up at 6:30, just ready to go. And it's like the only day, Puck, outside of golf that I get up and I'm happy to get up. Like if I don't have a tea time, I hate getting up early. But today, 6:30, I'm like, woo!
Yeah, let's go.
Taking some pictures, get them out, fired up.
Did we take the pictures by the door with the sign?
I'm in 11th grade. I'm in 10th grade. Yeah.
Why do we do that?
I'm not sure. I think at some point we'll put them all together from kindergarten up. I don't know. Make a nice little.
I want to pat ourselves on the back. We've never done that.
Maybe that. You guys haven't?
No.
Oh.
No.
Do the kids want to? I bet.
No. No. Just think they want to go to school and be left alone. So. But I missed you.
I missed you too, man. And not much happened while we were gone, so not much to talk about. I kept thinking, when's Puck calling me? When are we doing this? Oh,
I knew.
He's out in the mountains, no cell service. I can't even talk to you.
I had nothing. The second we reached Canada into Penticton, which was on a Wednesday, the 21st.
Okay.
I was done. I was done until I got into Whitefish, Montana on the 30th.
So did you literally not know about service getting fired?
No, I got I would periodically get these little I wouldn't get on my phone like on Twitter or anything. I would get like updates, like MLB.com. Those would come through to send me updates.
Like texts or something?
Yeah. And so I saw that he got fired and I'm like, I just knew something was going to happen. I knew something was going to happen when I left.
And you called Dan Wilson?
Well, we've been calling Dan Wilson for 5 years. I knew they'd hire Dan Wilson. And then when we were in Penticton, where we were camping, it was like 20 minutes out of town on Okanagan Lake. And then we went into town
nice.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Penticton is a better version of Lake Chelan.
Okay. And I like Lake Chelan. Okay.
Then you would love Penticton.
I would love, for sure.
And you would love it even more because just north of Penticton is a nice small town called Kelowna, home of the best golf in Canada.
Really? Kelowna is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
Okay.
And do you guys like wine?
I do.
Okay, so right when you drive in, cross the border, which is Colville, into Canada, which is like Osoyoos Lake, that whole, for the next 40 miles to get to Penticton is like Canada's Sonoma Valley. Sonoma. That's what it's like.
Wow.
Nothing but wine. You'd love it.
That?
Yeah,
now,
it's great.
Is this above the border where? Here or like, Montana or where?
Washington, like Colville.
Okay.
So basically you just go Chelan, head north.
Yep.
Into Canada. Wow. That's where it's at. It sits right below Kelowna.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew something was going to happen, and then I saw that, and then we went into Penticton one day to go float the river, and then I saw the updates, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
So you saw him about the same time Scott Servais saw him.
Yeah, about the same time. Let's get into that. Before we get into that, Brad Adam, Road Sports, every week, brought to you by John Howie's Steak. Entertain your next clients and family and friends at John Howie's Steak. Have the best dining experience in the city. Visit johnhowiesteak.com. Follow Brad on X, Twitter, at Real Brad Adam. John, we need to get a John Howie Steak up in Penticton. If that happens, then I'm moving. Yeah. I'm going to move up there. Yeah, I think me and Scott found out about the same time on social media.
That's a tough way, but a very,
how does that happen?
Nowadays way to find out, I mean, that
can't happen.
It can't happen. I mean, so few people knew that, right? And then did not let him know, the night before when they come back on the road trip, or, they had a noon meeting, but maybe you tell them before. Jerry even admitted, obviously it was handled poorly, and they would like to do that over again.
Especially for two people. I mean, to me, Brad, it's inexcusable if you didn't have a relationship between the two.
Sure.
Right. And then it was, some random person that the general manager had hired. The fact that they were friends, they had worked in all these organizations together.
Right.
For that
30 years. Yeah.
Is just mind boggling to me.
I wonder if their relationship is a little strained right now.
Doesn't it have to be?
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean,
it's tough. And that trip was so bad, something had to happen. And Jared DeHart, the hitting coach, also being let go. That's kind of forgotten in all this, with Edgar taking over. That had to happen. And when it first went down, with Dan Wilson coming in, they get that walk-off win Friday, his first game. You're thinking, man, this is going to be it. The big spark. They've got energy now. Players are, feeling good. They win the first two series, at home. But for whatever reason, they have really struggled this year against the Angels. They have really struggled on the road. They just can't beat these teams, these under 500 teams, to go 5-8 against the Angels, 1-5 against the Tigers. Now, when they played the Tigers, they were under 500. I know the Tigers are ahead of them now, but they were under 500.
Does Mitch Haniger know that now? Or?
Yeah, I saw your tweet. Yeah, that was a good one. And now the A's are playing surprisingly well, which is, again, we say that, but you got to be able to beat them, right? The last time they were in the Coliseum, it's frustrating season. Obviously, I try to put it into words, but you got 24 to go, Puck. If you go 18-6, right, which is pretty hard to think they could do that. I mean, but 18-6.
I want to be positive, but there's just no way.
Then the Astros would have to go 12-12 to put it in perspective. So that's why you think, well, 6 back with 24 to go, that's still doable. Absolutely. But it's going to take some crazy baseball. So 18-6, and then Astros go 12-12.
And they've got like 7 more games against the Angels, do the Astros, and I think 3 against the A's.
A's, right. And the Mariners have 6 against the A's, 7 against Texas. But, I mean, it's not just good enough, Puck, to win a series. You go 2 out of 3, which is what you try to do all season long. I get that. You've got to start sweeping. You've got to win these next 3 in Oakland. You've got to sweep in St. Louis and hope that Houston, goes 2-4, 3-3, because they've got a much harder schedule than the Mariners. Mm-hmm. But, then you look at the wild card, you're like 5.5, maybe that's doable, but you got 4 teams ahead of them, and they all have the tiebreaker over the Mariners. So that gets difficult, obviously, as well.
What's crazy about it, Brad, is think about this. The Tigers now have jumped them.
Yep.
Okay, and I made note of when people, if you don't recall, Mitch Haniger, after they avoided the sweep, said, hey, we should beat them. This was weeks ago. We should beat them. We're a better team. Well, statistically and the record-wise, they're not a better team now. I get his point. I get what he was saying. And I even agree. And here's the thing. I'm being a hypocrite because I agreed with him at the time. I was
Absolutely.
like, yeah, they are a better team. But I mean, now Detroit, they're not. The team that they made a big trade with at the deadline, the Rays, who sold off everyone.
Yeah.
They're only 2 games up on the Rays, and the Rays gave up.
Yes.
I mean, it's just
tons of injuries, and they're playing nobody.
What an unbelievable collapse.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, you look at June. What was it? 20th. I think it was the 20th when they were, 10 games up, and to now be 6 back. And 5.5 in the wild card. I mean, only like 2 teams have a worse record. Obviously, the White Sox. Thank God for them.
And who's the other one? Is it? It's the White Sox and
maybe the Marlins.
I mean, you mentioned the A's. The A's have a better record than them since the break.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've got the 3rd best record in the AL since July 1st. What?
How do they do it?
How is that? I don't know.
Don't get it.
You look at that lineup last night, Puck, and it's like.
I recognize anybody.
And who? And all the relievers they bring in their starter, all of them are rookies, making minimum. They just, they just fire them out there and see what happens. But they've been able to homer. They're on a homer streak. And so they showed it last night with Langoliers hitting 2 home runs. But it's just something, I don't know, something about them. But, 3 to go. And if we believe that they're going to Sacramento next year, I mean, I guess they are. So this will be the last time they're in Oakland. Junior's going to show up today and tomorrow just to, I don't know, take some pictures of the Coliseum. And, people are kind of reminiscing a little bit. I guess, we'll do that on the shows the next couple of days. It's sad for the fans because have you been there, Puck? No. Coliseum? Okay.
No, I mean, I walked by it. I've been to a Warriors game. I've seen it, but I haven't been into a baseball game there.
Yeah. Well, Raiders leave, Warriors leave to San Francisco. I mean, that hurts, right? Yeah. And now you got the A's leaving, and they're still a group, not a lot, because they don't get a lot of fans, but the ones they do, Puck, these guys still get there and they tailgate. They tailgate every game. It could be a Tuesday, like tonight, Tuesday 6:40 game. There'll be people in the parking lot tailgating. You know, I mean, the 1,000 that go are just great fans, and you feel bad. We know what it's like, to lose a team, and to have them go to Sacramento. I mean, that's a joke. How does MLB allow that, Puck?
I don't know. I've talked about this before. It's the same way I feel about the Mariners, right? I love the Mariners. When I talk about the Mariners, I'm talking about it's the team. Right. And that team changes year in and year out. It's new players and all that. Yep. I'm a fan of the name across the front. That's what I root for. I don't root necessarily for the players or the manager or the owners. It's okay for a fan, and I think A's fans would feel like this, to root for the A's, the entity that is the Oakland A's, right, or the Mariners. But then at the same time, hate ownership and hate everything else that's associated with it. That doesn't make you a bad fan. Is there hypocrisy with it? Well, yeah, but sports fans we're all hypocritical. Yeah. No, I agree. And I just think that's where I think, there's a great parallel to where I think some Mariner fans are with these guys. It's just, it's a struggle. I don't know. I mean, I know what should change, but I know that ownership will never change. That's never going to happen until they get real old and they want to sell it off. But if they do, it's just going to keep it somewhat in the family of those people. But I just don't know how serious that they are truly about wanting to win. The front office, if they don't make a move this offseason, I mean, I don't know how you can go in. In all likelihood, they're going to miss the playoffs. I don't know how you can bring all these guys back. I don't see how that's possible. They've had 9 years. There's some good, Brad. Yep. No doubt about it. But you can't have one playoff appearance in 9 years and then be expected to come all the way back. It just can't happen.
Well, it'll be really interesting to see the off season, I'm just talking team right now and players, because the payroll is going to go up a lot next year if they keep the players that they have now and they pick up, the contracts and extensions. So I'm curious to see, are they going to add payroll, or will they say they're not really going to add payroll, which means they're going to have to trade some guys, right? Are they going to trade a pitcher to get some bats? Are they going to, trade a Rosarena and not pay him $11 million? What are you going to do with Garver and Haniger, right? Are you going to put them in some trades to get rid of their contracts? This offseason will be really interesting to see, what they do. They got to go get a first baseman, right? I mean, how much are they going to spend? Is it going to be cost cutting like we saw last offseason, or will they say we're so close, we got this great pitching staff, let's try to add more than we did last year, more than at the deadline. So that's kind of what I'm interested in seeing, and I think that will tell us, I think, a lot of where the team is headed the next few years, I think. So,
yeah, I mean,
you're not liking that, Puck.
Well, I just.
Well, they trade
this is me.
Okay.
And as a fan, and again, I'm a hypocrite. I don't think anything changes until the team is sold. Although I know that the team is not going to get sold. All right. So I understand that that's never going to happen. So then I have to say, all right, well, do I trust these guys, this ownership group, to go out and find somebody better to replace in the front office? Not really, but I hope so.
Right.
I hope they can get together and find somebody that can bring it home. I've kind of used this
because they're close
analogy.
Right. They're very close.
This front office right now can't land the plane. Okay, they're doing a hell of a job getting us from Seattle to New York. It's been a bumpy flight, but for the most part, been fun. They can't land at JFK. They just can't land it.
They got to keep circling.
They just keep circling, and they just have
fuel's running out.
Don't know what the problem is offensively. I just don't think it's the batter's eye. I just don't think it's crooked, the mound. There's just something off of how they evaluate offensive talent, how they develop offensive talent, and why when it gets to the major league level, it just kaput.
And that's a good point. So now, if they're allowed to kind of reshape the team this offseason, are you excited about that? Do you think these are the people that can get, say they trade 2 pitchers and 2 guys to try to get 4 bats? Like, do you trust these people to evaluate bats that way? You know what I mean? To get rid of some of the pitching staff to get bats in. I mean, it's been a struggle to get bats. It's been a struggle, right, to find offense here. And if they change the batter's eye, will that help? Well, maybe, but it'll help the opposing team too, right? You take away your advantage of pitching. So will they do that? They need to figure out, obviously, to score, especially at home, and how to beat teams they should beat, especially on the road. And their pitching has not been good on the road. We've talked about it before.
It's 2 runs difference.
It's 2 runs different, and it's just I don't get it. I mean, Logan Gilbert should never give up 4 runs to the A's, or 6 runs his last
I think
start.
it's what you said, though. Whatever is wrong or skewed or offset or whatever the deal is at that ballpark, where it affects them as hitters, it's a benefit to their pitchers.
Right.
Okay? No doubt about it. Also, it's just a pitcher-friendly park.
There's some like that, and that's definitely a pitcher-friendly park. It allows the fewest runs of any park in baseball. Less than 7 runs a game at T-Mobile Park.
Yeah.
So you play into that, and they've done a nice job of that, with the pitching. But
what I don't understand from an offensive philosophy is they don't seem to acquire players. They're Robles, though, to a degree, but I think they kind of dumb-lucked into that.
Fortunate, yeah.
Yeah. They don't get guys that fit the stadium.
Right.
Is that they want to get guys that hit a bunch of home runs and launch angle and all this. And, okay, well, but it doesn't really fit that park. It's if they go to opposing parks where they're smaller, then, those guys will turn in – those doubles may turn into home runs. But they they should build an offense that, I don't know, looks more like what Kansas City does or what Cleveland does.
Right.
But they don't do that. But they have a pitching staff that obviously pitches well there. So, I mean, my point again about the ownership, nothing's going to change because they're not going to be sold. So I hope that they can go out and find a new front office. I mean, we've talked about this before. I would, whether it's, and I don't know who their names are, but whether it's the main guy or the deputy, I would find what Tampa Bay does. Or in a weird way, I'd find what Oakland does. They're good at finding young talent and developing it. And I would dip into that, and maybe really more Tampa Bay than anything, and say, just take it over and run it. And I would find
just take it over.
Just run the whole thing. But I would one thing that disappoints me about these guys is the transparency of them. And looking back and having to catch up on the firing of Servais and Wilson, we talked about how he found out. I mean, that cannot happen in today's day and age, anytime for anything, regardless if you're firing a manager or in sports, or if you're firing someone in our business or whatever. I mean, imagine, we lose our jobs and we find out through, Radio Inc. or TV Inc. that you lost your job. I mean,
LinkedIn, right.
Yeah, that's terrible. And then I think for the front office to hold a press conference on a Zoom and to not be at the actual podium, to not be flanked by the ownership.
Right.
I think they dropped the ball on that. I think ownership needed to be present there because there's people who think that ownership's the one who made the call. That it wasn't Dakota's call to fire him. And I think, if that's out there, I think people should have to answer those questions. But I also think, they own the team. That's a big decision. Right. That we would agree with this one, Brad, right? I'm being long-winded. I'm sorry. It's just not Dakota's decision. It's a collaboration with owners and the front office to make that decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it had to come from the ownership group, where they had to at least sign off on it.
Sure.
Every free agent trade, every trade, ownership signs off, and so they clearly signed off on it, and let Jerry and Justin be the face of that Zoom call.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right, and that was difficult for them because you mentioned it before. I mean, they've been friends with Scott for Jerry to go back 30 years, and Justin I don't know 15 years or so. So I mean that was difficult for them.
Sure.
And they certainly felt bad about the way Scott found out, but it was obviously not handled well. But now you go forward and you figure out what Dan Wilson can do and bring, and he's 5-5 in his first 10 games, and he's named the manager going forward. So you wonder, what's it going to look like next year? Not just the team, but like the staff too, right?
Do you think it's permanent? Do you think he wants that job permanently?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I would say right now, for sure. I think he's getting. I mean, think about that. I mean, he was. I don't know if he did the game Tuesday, but I mean, broadcasting the game excuse me.
Did he broadcast the game Tuesday and then as the manager Friday?
Gosh, I can't remember. No, because it was an away game, and he usually does just home Tuesdays.
Okay.
That would be interesting. But yeah, basically, hey, we have an off day Thursday, and Friday you're going to be the manager. I mean, it'd be kind of like you and I. We know the team, but
sure.
Wow. I mean, can you imagine just meeting after meeting and numbers and this and player, and you're just like,
it's a lot.
Wow. I mean, how overwhelmed would you be?
But him, and I'm not trying to get you to violate anything that maybe he's talked to you and anything that was confidential. But it sounds like he would be someone that, if presented the job full time next year, moving forward, multi-year deal, he's in.
I think so, yeah. And they've said that he's the manager going forward. I mean, he is. It's not interim. He is the guy.
Oh, okay. I missed that. I'm sorry.
They have said that he is the guy. So I think you use these, last 24 games, Dan will, to kind of figure out his maybe style of what he wants to do. But then, you've got the team, you've got the staff. I would imagine, as with most managers, coaches come in,
sure,
they want certain guys, right? Hopefully Edgar stays as hitting.
So do you think Edgar would want to stay?
Maybe.
Yeah.
How
do we get Mark McLemore back on the staff? I mean, who else do we want? Can we
pitching's pretty easy, right? You got Moyer, maybe a Paul Abbott, who is a pitching coach with the Red Sox.
Well, I have the perfect pitching coach.
Who?
And I think he would get along with ownership with Jeff Nelson. Bring Nelly back.
Or Randy. And then you got bench coach. Well, Ichiro could be like outfield coach.
Who do you think would be the bench coach? Would you think Dan Wilson would dip into his former teammate?
You got Buhner. I got it. Buhner. Wouldn't that be great? Just bring them all back. That would be great, wouldn't it? All these, the numbers and these new kids and the way they play. And Buhner
maybe it would be maybe it'd be the best thing for them just to not be obsessed with numbers and just let's just go out and manage and
exactly.
play.
Yeah.
Do you think though they miss the playoffs, they miss out? What's the probability? Do you think that the front office comes back? You think it's high?
I do. I do. I think.
You sense the ownership looks at their process, looks at their vision, and agrees with it, and thinks that it was a different voice leading it for a full season will change it.
That's a good possibility. I think that they look at, they've won average 89 games the last 3 years. They're going to get to, I don't know what they're going to get to this year, in the 80s. So they're in playoff contention every year through September. They've got a great farm system, one or two, I think, right, in baseball. They're making money. Maybe with the resources that they give the front office, they're pleased, and I think there's a lot of good things, a lot of positives, as you mentioned that these guys have done. Maybe they're not letting them, spend $200 million like other teams to get, better players and a different lineup on the field. So I think there's a lot that goes into those decisions that we don't know about. So, but just me saying right now, I think people would be back.
Yeah. Well, can they do it? I mean, so give me that number again. They'd have to go 18-6, and the Astros would have to go 12-12.
Correct. Or vice versa. Say the Royals would have to go
the wild card. Yeah.
Because remember, they'll have the tiebreaker over
the Royals,
the Mariners. No,
well, they've got it. The Royals have it.
Royals have it. They have a better intra-division record. Yeah. So start winning games, right? Starts today with Castillo on the mound.
Right.
Start winning, and we're all scoreboard watching. Last night everybody lost. That was just a perfect night. Everybody lost.
Everybody, yeah.
And then they get walked off in Oakland. So a chance there, but they know it obviously. So we'll just get at it. 6:00 today pregame. Me and Ange, be awesome. Talking the Rock. Talking here we go.
I don't know how you do it every night. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how you do it. But, Godspeed.
Those walk-offs are tough. You're out there and you're ready for extras. You're going to win, and then they walk off. And you have to
saw your reaction. Really? I wanted, at that point, unfiltered Angie.
Ooh. That's like Root Sports After Dark. That.
Yeah, I wanted Roots. Again, when we do the Root Sports After Dark,
right?
I want her liquored up.
Yeah, well,
ready to go.
Not a problem. And then,
not a problem. We can easily get that accomplished for her. Well, it's good to see your face. Good to talk to you again.
Nice to see you, man. I'm glad everybody's good. Fantastic.
I'm glad that the kids are off to school. We start on Wednesday. We start.
Okay.
And, we got middle school and the second year of high school, so it goes fast.
We got games on Thursday. We got a soccer game and volleyball on Thursday.
Let's go.
Woo.
What high school? Bellevue?
Yeah,
Bellevue.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Soccer's up in Bellingham. So I told my daughter, I'm like,
not going to make that one.
I
Who
think I'll go to
opens
the.
up in Bellingham?
I don't know. I'm gonna go to the home volleyball game. I think I'll go to that one.
Yeah.
And good luck and ride the bus and
Yeah, have fun.
Remember to bring snacks because you're getting home late.
That's
Because
true.
she's JV, and then you got to watch the varsity game,
Of course.
and then bus back. So it's
Yeah.
like, whoo.
Oh, it's a long
Maybe
day.
bring some money. Hopefully, they've got some maybe chicken tenders at the concession stand.
A cup of noodles.
Maybe a couple noodles.
Cup of noodles always at one of the concession stands.
Yes,
Cup of noodles always
popular
at a high school concession stand.
Because the profit margin is so great. We run the concessions for the volleyball, and it's like you buy the Costco water.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
Yeah.
Cup of noodles, a great one.
Noodles,
and we get
Twizzlers.
muffins. Yep, granola bars, candy.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. So
all right,
a couple noodles. Thanks,
Brad. Adam with us every two. Next week when we do this,
what are we doing?
Next week we're doing Fridays.
Fridays,
right? Is that what we agreed to? Fridays, I believe. We're doing it live next week. Fingers crossed.
Ooh.
We're gonna need it. You're gonna need. Everyone's gonna have to dial in.
It's gonna be me. If it doesn't work, it's gonna be me. Me and technology.
We can always adjust on the fly. We can do. We figure stuff out, but that's the plan. We'll be switching Brad to Fridays as we take the show live starting at 10 a.m. Yeah, we'll have more on that. It will still be brought to you by John Howie Steak. Entertain your next clients, family, and friends at John Howie Steak, and have the best dining experience in the city. Visit johnhowiesteak.com. And again, episodes drop every Tuesday, 1:00. Until next week, then they'll drop again next week at 1:00. But we'll be doing it live, but then the recorder will be at 1:00. But same spots, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, buddy.